Just kidding. This camera doesn't really work. No batteries. Um, no batteries. No little, not flash drive. What's it called? Memory card. There you go. The memory card's gone. And look at, I broke the zoom in and zoom out button. Like, there's supposed to be a little button where you go, nyong, nyong, nyong. But no, I broke that. And this is like a really old camera. It's just that my new one is downstairs, and when I walk downstairs to get it, and I'm sure all y'all are sitting at home, and you're like, what is this white girl doing? Why does she always have this weird old background? This background right here? It's because it's my room. Yeah. And I make most of my videos in my room. Until I get my little flip video camera, which I really want, it's gonna be in my room. It's like this series is gonna be in my room. Sometimes I'll do it in my kitchen, so you'll see my fridge and all that stuff. But mostly, it's gonna be in my room. So, I was gonna tell you about today. It was really funny. So I brought my camera to school, so I like videotape my day and put it on here and show all y'all what going to my high school is like. And then I get to like first period and I got my camera and all that stuff, all that jazz. And I was like, oh hey guys, and you know I'm saying like what's up to my friends and everything. And I was like, yeah, I got a camera. I'm gonna like videotape my day. And they're like, really? And then one of my friends was totally messing around. They're like, you gonna put it on YouTube? And I was like, yeah, duh. It's all part of my random life series. And then they were both like, oh, well, you can count me out. And I was like, what? Why? And there's like, cause especially today, cause I don't look good. And I was like, fine. So I just didn't do it. I might do it like tomorrow if they think they look better tomorrow. So they're gonna be on YouTube. But I walked into my sixth period today, and so I was sitting down. Because sixth period we have this thing called the journal question. So you gotta look on the backboard and you gotta write down the question and you gotta write down the answer. And then she like draws a name out of like a bucket and she's like, oh, you know, so and so has the answer, and you have to give her the answer. And so before I did that, I went in and sat down, and this kid that like came up and started talking to me after the shark video is like where he's like, "Hey, you like the shark video?" And I was like, "Sharks swimming in the ocean." No, I didn't see that, but that same kid, and I'm gonna call him. I'm gonna call him Elmo. There you go. I'm gonna call him Elmo. I remember that. Let me write that down. Elmo. Okay, I'm gonna call him Elmo. So Elmo comes up to me and he sits down on a stool, like the stool in front of me, because we're at lab tables and they have stools. We don't have chairs, we have stools. So he's like sitting there and he's like, hey, and I was like, hey, and you know, really busy, but that's okay. Why don't you sit down? Yeah, okay. And so he sits down, and I'm kind of like sitting there, like I gotta get my work done. Fool, go sit at your table. I was thinking that I didn't say that out loud because that would be mean. But then he starts talking to me and says, so how was your summer? And I was like, it's like three weeks into school. Why are you asking me this now? You couldn't ask me that like 2 weeks ago when I actually remembered my summer and what the heck happened. And like he kept trying to talk to me and I felt really bad. But he's a really nice guy, but I just don't want to talk to him in class. You know, if he came up to me at lunch, I'd be like, hey, oh, what's up, you know. But no, he doesn't. He comes up to me during class when I'm trying to learn and focus on the teacher that is standing in front of me. So, that happened today. And you know how yesterday I told you that we went to that meeting thing and it really wasn't yesterday, it was really today. So me and my friends, we get our food and we're like, because we had to wait in a super long line today because it's Chinese food day or Asian food day or whatever. And so we got Asian food. It was actually really, really good. Oopsie. But, hold on. But we had to wait in the super long line, so we were waiting in the line, and then we get our food, and then we were like, oh, you know, we're probably really late, so we can just take our food up there, you know, like, we don't have to wait. And then we're out at the stairs and like all have our food, and this one teacher's like walking by and he's like, you guys know that when you eat lunch, you have to eat lunch down there, because we were on like at the top of a building, at the second story of the building. And we were like, oh yeah, well, we're going to the Latino Cultural Club meeting. And he's like, oh, really? What room is it in? And we were all like, M206. And he's like, oh, okay, then move on. Okay. So we're like moving on. And all of a sudden this kid comes up behind us and he's like, yo, where are you guys going? And we're like, oh, we're going to Latino Cultural Club. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And then he's like, what room is that in? And then my friend Brian's like, oh, we're gonna go get crack. We're gonna go smoke crack. And then the kid's like looks at us and like, what? And we're like, he's just kidding. He really is just kidding. We're not gonna go smoke crack. And we told him what room the Latino Cultural Club was in. And then Brian, of course, has to continue on with his little story. And he's like, don't go use all the crack before we get there. And I was like, so embarrassed. I was like, oh my gosh. This kid probably thinks we're like the biggest weirdos ever. But it's only just me and my friend Brian, apparently. But, oh my gosh. Okay, look at this. I don't know if you guys can see it, but this water bottle says no refill. But after I drink it, like drink out of this the first time, I always refill it with water from my refrigerator. So I'm pretty sure that's refilling it. So I guess I'm not supposed to do that, but I'm gonna do it anyway. That's just so random. Why would you tell people that? Like, oh, here's a water bottle, don't refill it. Okay, that's random. I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna refill it anyway, fool. It is so cold. It's ridiculous. Like, it's summertime, so you guys are like, oh my gosh, it's really hot. But I'm like sitting in my room right now, and like as you can see, that fan's going new, 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 and it is freezing in here. Like I got goosebumps on my legs, and I'm wearing pants. Not good. So I was thinking that I was gonna make this daily thing, or like sometimes twice a day, like if I can. And I'm gonna make another video after this because I like the way I start off videos. Cause you know, like this time I was like, quick. Well, next time I'm gonna have like some super crazy thing. And you guys are gonna be like, what? This girl's awesome. Oh yeah, and today it was really cool because I checked my messages things on here on YouTube, and I got a video request, and it was so awesome. I was like, I did my first video request, and I was like, yes, awesome. People are awesome. And it was really funny because like, this person's so chill. Like, I read their thing, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. They were like, oh, yeah, you know, like, I read your profile, and I thought you were really awesome. I was like, huh. So they're like, yeah, I know. You know, I'm just that cool. I'm that good. And sorry, I had to move my screen. It was just really bugging me because I'm looking at myself and I'm like, oh, just my head. I'm a floating head. No, okay. And so she's like talking about how her and her friends, they had just watched the movie Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, I think. And her friend's like, oh yeah, you know, I would like shrink down to that 1 inch person, like go into this girl's room or whatever. And so as I'm making the video, I'm like reading the questions. Like I had not read them before I made the video. So I was really just like doing this on the spot answering questions. And one of them was like, oh, so if like this little 1 inch person that you hate is standing on your shoulder telling you mean things and he falls into your bowl of cereal, what would you do? And like it gave a list of options. I think like A was laugh, B was pretend to eat him, C was eat him, laugh, pretend, eat, swallow him, tell him to get out, or put your chin on the side of the bowl and have him feed you cereal because he's already in the cereal bowl. And I was like sitting there like with the two of them, where it was like swallow him and eat him. I was like, oh well, he's still a person. Even if he's like 1 inch tall, he's still a person. So I'd be like being carnivorous, and that's kind of gross. So I chose none of those. Well, yeah, actually I chose tell him to get out because I would have been like, fool, get out of my cereal. Now I can't eat it. Thanks. Because like he fell in my cereal. He could have peed in my cereal. 1 inch man peed in my cereal. That's not good. It's gross. And all of a sudden there's like a random chocolate chip floating in my cereal. No, not gonna happen. So I would like be like, fool, get out of my cereal, and then I have to go like dump it in a drain or do something else with it. I don't know what else you can do with cereal besides eat it. So today in my fourth period, it was really funny because we had to do this thing because like everybody in California, I don't know if like other states have this, but especially California because we're like an earthquake driven state. Earthquake driven. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm gonna go with it. Um, and so we have this thing that all the schools have to do. It's called the Great California Shakeout or Shakedown, but we just call it Shake and Bake. I don't know why Shake and Bake, but it's from Ricky Bobby. That's a great movie. So we always do Shake and Bake, and it was really funny because we had to like for this thing we had to make a list of like what day, um, if there's the 8.5 earthquake, we had to like make up the situation, like the scenario. We had to like make a big list of supplies for 5 days. Like the rescue people couldn't find us until after 5 days. So we had to like have all this stuff and where we put it and like all of this stuff. And it was really funny because we were really coming up with all of this funny stuff. Like I was like, oh my gosh, I want it because it wasn't like it was supposed to be realistic, but it didn't have to be things that you had right now. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get 20 chickens, then I have eggs and chicken. But mostly eggs, because like eggs are high in something that's good for you. I don't know if it's iron, potassium, protein. I don't know. I don't know. But it's good for you. And like I had like a flare gun on my list, and I had like all my karate weapons because I do karate. I don't know if you guys know that, but I do karate, and I'm obsessed with manatees and pandas. But that's not the point. Um, actually, there's no point to that at all. I just, and in fact, I thought I'd tell you. Um, and I just found out today that, what did I find out today? I found out something really random. I just did not want to know. But I can't remember what it was. It was just really weird. And I was like really shocked and surprised, and I was like, wow, that's weird. Um, okay, so, oopsie. I, I have this question asking me. I don't know if it was like today, like a month ago, or last year. Something. It was sometime. Like somebody asked me what the difference was between like and love, and I was like, on the spot question. Don't get to think about it. Can't do research. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not writing a term paper on this. But I did not know how to totally describe it to them. Like I was saying, or like just means like, oh yeah, I think you're good looking, I like your personality, I think you're cool, I want to go out with you. And then love is like, oh my gosh, I want to be with you for the no, just kidding. It's not gonna be I want to be with you for the rest of my life because that's like in love. But it's like, oh my gosh, you're this fantastic person. I want to spend every minute with you. All the stuff. That's how I explained it, but I'm not totally sure on that one. So if you guys want to explain it to me, so I can explain it to whoever asked me that like a year ago, I have it written down. I have a lot of notes. They're like post-it notes all over my desk. So I'm like, oh, did that one. Oh, yeah, did that. This is really funny.